painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking. KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Art Beat, we talked to Mary Farrell on her film Winona Unmasked that was shown at this year's Frozen River Film Festival. We talked about her reason for making the film, how COVID-19 affected production, and why this project meant so much to her. This is KJ with Mary Farrell on Art Beat.
Sure. Okay. So my name is Mary Farrell, and the name of my film is Winona Unmasked. And the film is a collection of interviews that I did. I started back in June. And they're interviews with people in the community in Winona. And they are telling their story about how they have either been personally or professionally impacted by COVID-19.
Okay. What originally gave you the idea to make this documentary?
So I've been doing documentary filmmaking now for about the last 5 years, and have made 3 other films previous to this. And so I'm, always wanting to look for material. But, and since COVID-19 was part of our life this last year, I was noticing and that people that I know had been personally affected. And I mean, everybody's been affected, but like a friend of mine had lost his father, at the local nursing home. And another friend lost her husband, not to COVID, but, she lost her husband during COVID, and she had to, she couldn't, she had him in hospice at home. And so anyway, I was just trying to decided that I really want to capture these stories and have some sort of document or record of what it was like in Winona during the pandemic. So, I just contacted people that I knew might have a story to tell, and then so I put together this collection that does. Have you got to see it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was really good. I felt really touched by some of the stories.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was more of a heartfelt type film. Something that was, people again talking from their own personal experiences.
Yeah, it really touched my heart, and it was just amazing to see some of the stories. So you mentioned that you mostly just reached out to friends that you knew who had a story. Was that enough, or did you reach out to the broader community, other people as well?
Right. So because of COVID, I thought that it might be best to kind of stick with either people I know or acquaintances, because I felt like I wanted to be safe. I wanted them to feel safe. So that was more of my approach. To feel like, oh, I think I can ask, my friend Daryl, or I can ask my friend Mary Kay, and that they knew me and could feel safe with me and trusted me, because I definitely went into their homes, I masked, to be sure to be safe. So it was more, and so it was that, and just I felt like they had compelling stories, and that was good, and that was enough. I mean, I had some people say, well, maybe we should talk with, Rochelle Schultz, who's our CEO at Winona Health, or a CEO at St. Anne's and hospice, or nursing home or whatever. So, but I chose, I didn't do that. I thought that's not what I was trying to capture at this point. I see that I think it does have a purpose and a role. Me personally, I felt that I could better tell the story if I had some kind of connection with the folks with the interviews.
Yeah, that always having a connection with someone really helps bring out the interview and make it come alive.
Yeah, I mean, I've had lots of feedback, and most of the feedback is, Mary, these just are really, um, you know, I was really able to draw out people's experiences and to be just, to have them speak openly about them.
Yeah. And I especially like that you kept it with just, even if it was just people that you knew, they were people. Like, because a lot of documentaries or any like video stuff that I see about COVID-19, they're always talking to people who are like CEOs or people who are like right in the middle of it. And yes, those people are struggling. We get that. But here's all these people who are trying to stay safe, stay at home, and they're struggling too.
Yeah, that's really, really a good point. And because as much, I mean, there is a lot of those stories that you talked about. Um, and I was sort of feeling like if I would be disingenuous to kind of maybe find people um, that I maybe didn't know and try to capture their story. It just felt more genuine to to talk to sort of people like people that I'm know and acquainted with. It felt more genuine to me.
Yeah, and you could really tell within the film how genuine it was.
Oh,
Um,
thank.
uh, did you interview more people who you may not have added in the film?
Well, I have to say I did interview. So I did go to the farmers market and I interviewed one of the gentlemen there who uh, is in agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
He raises beef and he has, a table at the farmer's market and sells his beef. And so I was there one day and I said, "Oh, can I?" I just had my phone on me. I didn't have my camcorder. Anyway, so I said, "Can I do a quick interview with you?" I mean, I know him, and so because I thought that would be an interesting story to capture, and so I interviewed him, but because the other interviews were done with my camcorder, there was quite a difference between the quality.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just wasn't able to follow up with another um, interview with my other my camcorder camera. So that didn't get in. And then I interviewed another couple actually that they are part of the Dharma Zen Buddhist community here. And I wanted to capture their story about what it's been like to practice their meditation practice during this time. And so I went to their, uh, it's called the Manitou Center, where they do practice their meditation. And because there's all this beautiful natural light coming in, I thought this would really be lovely light. And anyway, so, but what happened there was um, they have this furnace going off and on and off and on, and it kept interfering with the sound. And I thought, well, I'm hoping my editor could really fix that. Well, that wasn't the case. He tried to fix it, and it was just apparent that it would stand out having different sound quality than the other interviews. So that didn't get into the film. Yeah.
Dang, that sounds actually really interesting too. I'm kind of sad.
Oh yeah, I felt bad and I had to, I emailed them and apologized and explained why that was. And there just wasn't time to kind of again um, go back and try to re-interview them and somehow work with a better mic. I thought I had the right microphone on, but anyway, it just and with that furnace going off and on, we probably there wasn't time and so that was unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the struggle of filming. I am a mass communication major, so
Okay.
I understand the problems with cameras.
Yeah. Were you part of the local set?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
But some of my classmates were, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I've seen. I try to watch stuff that Winona State's put on Eventive and I saw it in the local set and yeah. I've known Bryn Artley a little bit too, so I know she just graduated though. Anyway, Go ahead.
So speaking of the different stories, what story touched your heart the most?
I liked both the Daryl's story about his dad. Um, that was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I love that last piece where he's, holding his dad's uh
Ashes and urn.
in the urn. And, you know, he was just telling the whole story. And then just at the end, he kind of really, um, I just love the part where he talks about, he's here to stay with me. And I talked to him. That's not the typical Daryl because I know Daryl. And so I really liked that. And then Mary Kay Perrin, when she was talking about losing her husband, he was in hospice and all these people came to the window. And I was one of those people that came to the window. My photo wasn't in there, but I knew Don personally too. I've known him for years. And so I just love the whole story of how he was able to be in his hospice bed in front of the window and having all these friends come by and say goodbye. Yeah, that was very moving and touching to me.
Yeah, seeing that one with the people by the window and the signs that they made, I almost started crying.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then my friend Barb Rockwell, who had um, to visit her husband who was in memory care, through the
Mm-hmm.
screen, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of something. One of my coworkers, his father, his father and I believe his mother also were in like hospice care and stuff like that. So they had to visit them through a screen window as well at one point, and like I remember him telling me that, and I'm just like, it's so sad.
Yeah, yeah, she really made that point. And then, how she revealed that, he's been in sober for all these years and how that motto of one day at a time has been life-saving for them.
Yeah, I can relate. You just have to go one day at a time with this stuff.
Right, right.
So you mentioned that you've had a few of your other films shown at Frozen River. So what's it feel like to have it shown?
Um, well, I have to say it that it's wonderful to have a local festival and have a local outlet. I mean, um, so my first one I showed in 2017, the John Latch, the Man and His River. And yeah, that was exciting. It really is exciting, to be able to share that, know that other people are, watching this film and that, that you've gotten to this point where you have created a film and that actually is being, you know, shown on the big screen, just like when you have gone to the movies and watched, you know, uh, movies at the local cinema or something. So that it's really exciting, and it feels good to um, to get to that point in your work that you can actually have an outlet. So yeah, so I have to say I have a couple times submitted my film to a couple other festivals and have been rejected. So, and that's just part of how things go. But it seems like if you're a local filmmaker in Winona, you have a kind of a automatic acceptance into the film.
Yeah,
you don't
there's
get you don't get rejected.
yeah, they got your back.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, this film that I just started working on, I wasn't really sure that I was going to be ready for Frozen River this year, but Dan Munson, who's the assistant director at the Frozen River Film Festival, he kept saying, "Mary, do you have a film for me? Do you have a film for me?" And so I thought, okay, I better get a film. I better get a film together. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
So I have a little bit of a reputation with the festival.
Oh, That's great. So speaking of time crunching, how long did it take to produce and edit the full film?
Okay. So my first interview with Daryl was in June.
Okay.
So I started, it was Father's Day, I remember. It was Father's Day. And so I did these interviews over the course of, okay, I'll tell you what, it was still February. Okay, the opening of the festival is February.
Mm-hmm.
What was February 10th, was it? Yeah, something like that. Because yeah, it ended on the 14th. Anyway, and I I, you know, woke up early February, like I can't remember, late January, early February, very early February. And I said, oh my goodness, that's right. Rachel and Dan had a baby. I need to capture that.
Okay.
So I went out to their house and I contacted them. Would you be okay with me? I mean, out to your house and felt, oh yes. So I went out and did that footage. And I said, Blake, he's my editor. I said, Blake, me bad, but I had to. And he was very accommodating. Oh, that'd be great. Let's put it in there. I think the festival was virtual this year. Um, there was some leeway to get your film in. And since Blake, my editor, who's wonderful and very professional, does excellent work, he's on the board of the directors, and so he kind of was able to have some leeway about when he, yeah, that's the advantage, I think, of being local. So yeah, so I was from June until February, I was doing interviews. Yeah, and then along the way I was certainly passing on all the files to Blake, who
Mm-hmm.
works, he has his own multimedia company called Winona Creates. He's been my editor for all my films, and so he was all along, keeping up on that and being able to do his part with the editing. And so it's just a matter of just getting one more interview in there, and he kind of slipped it in there.
That's great. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I understand like how long like productions and filming and stuff can take because for one of my classes, oh my gosh, was it already like 2 semesters ago? Oh my gosh, it was. Time flies. We did a small documentary on COVID here on campus for one of my
Okay.
classes. So I,
Okay.
I understand how long filming and editing can take.
Yes, I know. And well, the idea was I thought maybe I got a new computer and I thought, well, maybe I'll do some editing on the front end so Blake wouldn't have to do as much, but that just didn't happen. It just, because it's so time consuming. And if you have the right tools and software and the expertise, it's just much better to go with someone that's going to be able to accomplish it much sooner than
Yeah,
I
for sure.
would. Yeah.
So obviously this was about COVID-19 and people's
Right.
stories. So how did COVID-19 actually like affect the production? Like I know you had to wear a mask when you were talking with them, but was there any like setbacks or anything like that?
Um, it actually went pretty smoothly, you know. Well, I'll tell you this. So, um, and I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Okay, this is what I was going to say. So typically, I usually have someone that does the interviews and I do the filming. But Fran, who would do that, I really didn't want to bring in another person. I really didn't want. I thought I'm going to just, I don't want to have me in the room, with the person I'm interviewing and have Fran. And I want to keep it simple. I wanted to, you know, um, not put her in jeopardy. She's, you know, a woman who's, a senior. And so I took that on myself to do the interviewing and the filming. So that was one change that I've made. But other than that, it went smoothly. Wait, no, I think it was 3 people did wear masks. Jackie, who was the mask maker,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I was in her house and she just really, well, I mean, she had a mask to wear. She had many masks, many masks to choose from. But so she decided to stay masked. And then Brianna, who was the school teacher, that was I was in there in Riverway in the school building. So that was part of their protocol. I mean, if you were going to be in there, you had to have a mask. So she stayed. And then Sarah Johnson, who was the creative laureate, she would wear a mask while she was doing her public art. So anyway, but it was just mostly, I did my mask wearing, I did my, social distancing, and everybody seemed agreeable to that. Yeah.
And it was really good because it's sometimes hard for to hear people's voices through the mask, and even if they're like mic'd up and stuff. So
right.
The audio was really good still.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, that is one thing I know, that if your audio isn't good, you've lost your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I really try to, make sure that that's good quality.
Awesome. So is there anything you want viewers to take away from your film?
Okay, let's think about that. That's a really good question. Well, okay, I'm going to do this for a second.
Go for it.
I'm going to go. I've been getting texts and I've been getting let's see. Good morning, Mary. I want to tell you how really impressed I am with your film. It's so good. You've created a lasting chronicle of this strange and challenging time and how members of the Winona community are responding to it. So I think, I will say when I'm reading that too, that I think my hope in all this was really to create a document or a historic record of this time in Winona. So I'm hoping that comes across. That this is what was happening in Winona in 2020. So yeah, that's would be something that I hope people can take away from it.
Yeah, especially even in later years, if I mean, like eventually it'll be a new generation, and like everyone will look back on like, yeah, we were stuck doing all this in 2020.
Yeah, and maybe because I feel like, Kelly, like there's a lot in the news. There's stuff in the newspaper people can find out about those kinds of newspaper journalistic whatever stories.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a little alternative. I think it's just a little bit more again, personal, deeper kind of thing. So here's another one. Mary, just saw your film, beautiful. Cameos were poignant and compelling, and everyone seemed to be good as an actor. But I think your editing is probably what polished and wove everything together. That was one that I got.
Such nice praises.
It's really just watched your amazing film on Kovo. I gave it 5 stars. If a film brings tears to my eyes, it gets a 5.
That's really good.
Yeah. This was another one. That was wonderful, Mary. Well done. Lovely people, captivating stories, rich colors, and cinematography. Congratulations. So,
Yeah, it seems
and this is the woman. This is the one that from the woman who was the mask maker. Loved the film. Jerome's narrative was perfect. My daughter Chrissy was in the co-op segment, so that was nice to see too. Very nicely done. So sorry about being so vain.
No, it's not vain at all. You did a good job.
Thank you, Kelly.
I mean, like, anyone who can do this during a pandemic deserves a good pat on the back from the community.
Okay. Well, I have been, healthy all through this. I really have. So, and I'm very grateful for that. Two of the people in the film had COVID. Well, Scott, who is our mayor-elect, and then Diane also had COVID, but we didn't bring that part out in her interview just because we had done it in Scott's. But yeah, so some people did contract it. But yeah, I felt healthy and strong, and I thought, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this.
You got this, and you did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm grateful. I'm glad that there is something. I'm glad that I can provide the community with some sort of understanding of this difficult and interesting time in our history of Winona.
Yeah, it was really well done. I congratulate you on it.
Oh, I appreciate that, Kelly. Thank you.
So last question.
Okay.
So for anyone who did not get the chance to see it during the Frozen River Film Festival, how can they watch it and maybe even find out more about you and your other documentaries? I'm working on trying to get my work online. I'm behind on that, so that is definitely a goal. So, but the other documentaries, I have to say, we did put them on DVD. I've sold. I had them. Well, the John Latch one is for sale here at the History Center where I'm at, where you're calling me, at the museum shop. But I have made a DVD of every one of them and donated them a copy to the public library, and so people can check them out from there. However, I know that that's not probably what your generation would be doing. So that's why I got to get my act together. Gotta get my act together. So yes, right now there isn't an opportunity to see this particular film online yet. But having you ask me that question, having other people ask me that question is like highly encouraging me to get going on that. Yeah, it's just you can build your own website, have a little archive. It'd be pretty neat.
I know. Oh, are you interested, Kelly?
I can edit films. I can't make a website. And again, thank you for being here on the show. It was really nice talking with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Kelly.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.
Thanks again to Mary Farrell for their interview. Keep an eye out for when Mary publishes her website and makes the film public. To stream today's episode or any other episode of Artbeat, go to kqal.org and click on the podcast tab. This is KJ on Artbeat.